Very smooth.
Okay, so Trey, one of the things that you talked about in that film is that you started the first tent city in Berea, and you talked about how you thought that would be a good idea to bring people together. And so I wanted to ask you about how you did that. How did you get people working together on that?
Well, I mean, it's just we commune
Trey,
together.
Trey,
Uh,
could you speak to the mic and speak to the
we
crowd,
kind of
please?
commune together, meet up in places around town, and it was just thought, man. Different people have different attributes that they could add to a circle. If we made a circle, in hence, I guess you'd say, that we could all work together. Each person has their special quality, and one might be better at building fires than the next one, and we're all going to stay warm if we have that one knowledge on board, you know. So just kind of simple thinking.
Awesome. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Trey. And my first question will be for Michael. Michael, so as you guys both, you and Scott spoke about in this um, Dishonor video about the law in Kentucky making homelessness illegal, let me ask, what's next? What's the plan to move forward and combat this?
Yeah, we would like for each of you all to get involved in our local work. We don't want our county to say the only thing on offer is jail, so we need emergency shelter in this county. We're working to get the fiscal court to invest in that, so we want to plug you in. We also will not let this issue go, so we have similar organizations that we're friends with, partners with, coalition with, that are working on the Welcome Home Kentucky Coalition that'll bring the people in the state together to pass some legislation about eviction expungements and those kind of things. We want that coalition to build enough power and to be numerous enough that we have the power to repeal these provisions of the Safer Kentucky Act at the state level.
Thank you, Michael. I've got a question for you, Katie. As somebody who's been there before, I was wondering if you could speak to how somebody ends up in a situation where they don't have any place to stay based on your experience and what you've seen other people experience.
Me personally, it was due to unforeseen circumstances. I found a woman in my man's bed, so I became homeless. Um, and it was very reasons. Just being evicted, a disagreement with someone. There's so many different reasons, but the only thing that matters is how you get back up. Don't give up. It's never an option. I don't care what the situation or circumstance is. It's never an option to give up.
Mm, thank you. That's true. Speaking of, thank you very much. Thank you. And I think hope is such an important thing. And through all the struggles we have in life, when we may face commonalities, hope, keeping that hope alive, the power of the human spirit. Thank you for being here and for everything you've accomplished. My question for Stephen, keeping it up with the UP initiative, and I'm sure Michael alluded to some of it, but just in your words, what is the plans for the UP initiative and to combat some of these laws and just to ensure that people have fair housing and access to that?
Well, I want to touch on Katie real quick. UP is here to be a buffer, a place to provide support and help get these people back up on their feet. Uh, we've watched her come a long way, and now she's standing on her own feet, making her own way. And she kept telling me from day one, I will never stop my drive for my goals. And here she is, reaping the benefit. And I'm just glad to be a part of that, and we continue to be a part of that.
Stephen, I've got a follow up on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk about the UP initiative, kind of like low barrier to entry model? What's different between the UP initiative and some other services organizations?
Some of the other organizations would like to have different criteria, driver's license or drug testing. We're low barriers, so you come as you are. You're all welcome at our facility.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's so important. Scott, a question for you. Um, I think, and this might be far-fetched, but as somebody who has a background in construction, you know, how, I'm just curious, I'm sure the lack of housing for people, right, and tying into like construction, is there difficulties in that? Do you see it with legislators and things of that nature? Is there, I guess, what are the reasons we see barriers, in your opinions? As,
Because the rent's too damn high.
yeah,
It's hard to get into a place. I actually work with affordable housing, and it's called affordable housing, but it costs the same as anybody else's house, square foot for square foot. Someone's making money every time affordable housing is put up. So affordable for who? Who's giving the money? Where is the money coming from? Where is that happening? It's coming from our pockets, right? The workers out in the world are paying their taxes. Billionaires are not paying their share so that we can subsidize affordable housing where the developers are making millions of dollars so they can go make millions of dollars elsewhere. But if I wanted to say, Katie, what you said about not giving up, none of us can give up. Every time there has been movement for people in this nation, every time our rights have been validated or we have gained new freedoms, every time it's when we haven't given up, when we've worked together side by side. That's how we make change. And so, Katie, you're right. We can never give up. Not any individual one of us and no community of us. All together, we must not give up. The more people, the more options you got.
Kate, is there anything else you would like to say to that note, Kate?
You can't give up. I mean, you run out of ideas, you pull in somebody else. Two heads are better than one.
Thank you.
We're going to open it up to. So if you've got a question from the audience, we're going to take questions too.
Yep. Thank you. So we got question over here. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, awesome. So do we have any questions from the audience? I got question over there. Oh, in the
Thank you. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, great. So I really appreciate what you all are doing. It means a lot to me. I am working on the flip side of this. So what I'm looking at is y'all are taking care of the people on the palm of your hand, with the palms of your hand. I'm looking at the structure that crunches on my chin. Okay. All right. So do I need to repeat that? Okay. So because slavery is legal in this state. I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but it's in our Constitution. And so there is a lot of motivation for not just those billionaires, but all of the legislature to maintain the system of putting people in jail. There is a whole lot of incentive there. The state, let me see if I can remember the numbers, pays their prisoners in a year 44,400, I forget the numbers. Anyways, somewhere in the thousands over the year. They save in the millions in that same year because they're only paying $1 a day average. You're aware of this?
Oh,
Yeah, so I can take a little bit of that one. Where I see these issues of criminalization and homelessness and housing kind of overlap, the Safer Kentucky Act was not a bill, and not a law about housing. It was over 70 pages long, and it was about criminal justice reform. So this law did lots and lots of things. It was harsher on felony convictions, all of these kind of things. So it did more than just criminalizing homelessness. None of the things that were in it were good, right? We're specifically focused on those particular provisions about making homelessness a crime and then calling that criminal justice reform. But rest assured, none of the things that were contained in this bill were loving of any of our neighbors or compassionate in any kind of way. Most of the ideas, piece by piece, that were in this thing, there were organizations like the Kentucky Council of Churches and many others who were saying, like, these policies are bad ideas. They've been tried before, and they've been horrific failures all around for making life hard for poor people and harsher on anything that you get called a crime, right? So we're specifically focusing on those homeless provisions, but they're not like their own kind of issue. They're all part of this really big thing. So yeah, the Safer Kentucky Act is, the homelessness in it was just one of the many terrible things that it did, and it's connected to the things you were saying. Yeah.
thank you.
Got another question?
And no,
Do you have working committees on these individual projects? For instance, homelessness, are there actual working committees? The reason why I ask this question is because I actually am a landowner and I have 3 apartments along with my house on that. And there are lots of ways in which to provide housing. And I'm just wondering if you have any of those kind of ideas in the works that maybe some of us can work on.
Anybody want to take that one?
and you guys,
Yeah, I can speak a little bit too. So we've got a few different things going on here. So the tenants union is mostly working on the tenant side of stuff. Up Initiative's more so working on the homelessness end of stuff. And so both of those organizations are ways to get involved on the issue and bring those ideas in. I don't know if anyone's got more to add on that.
So,
I might have a little to add to that. I'm Kent Gilbert. I work with the Kentucky Council of Churches as well as pastoring Union Church. One of the things that we've been working with is we've been working with the Kentucky Housing Coalition as well as several other groups that are looking for ways to partner. There are lots of, I think, people who have small holdings. They're not the giant corporations, but you've got an apartment over your garage. How do you be a good landlord? What are some good ways that you can increase the possibilities? These are the kinds of things that a tenants unit could really help us with too, to sort of have classes for people who are not owning billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of assets, but who could work to change laws, as they recently did in California, to allow auxiliary units to be built on. You got a lot of land. They changed the laws in California to ease the housing crisis, to allow smaller apartments to be built in places that had previously been zoned out. We could do the same in Madison County. We could find other ways that we could educate landowners and landlords, mom and pops as well as big folks, just to say, look, here's some policies that would make it a lot easier for you to have stable, good income, but also provide a stable, safe place for your tenants to live. Everybody should want to do better, right? And I think we would love any way we could as citizens, as well as folks who are working for churches, working for community agencies, Kiwanis, all the civic groups. I think we should look at this and say, we can come together and find ways to be better at this. If you have land, there's ways to be better and more accessible. If you have influence, there are ways to use your vote to make sure that you're not pricing people out of the market. If you are a tenant, there are ways to find that cooperation will build a strength that will lead to better housing for us all. I really hope we can do that, because I think Sue's a perfect example of people who do right by their tenants and want to do more, but it's complicated and it's made that way because it benefits the Joe Lonsdales. It benefits Joe Lonsdale to have private prisons. It generates a lot of income. The House Bill 5, which Michael talked about, at a conservative estimate, put in policies that will cost the state $465 million a year, more than we were paying because of stupid, ineffective processes and laws. $465 million exceeds what we spend on the housing crisis in this state by a factor of 6. We could spend $450 million more a year on solving that problem rather than having to police people who are trying to sleep.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Scott, did you want to add to that too, or no? No. Thank you. That was beautiful. We have a question.
Okay, so I have been involved in the housing stuff on the other side of the state. And, I've been working on stuff on the other side of the state, and I was wondering if y'all have looked in Uralta here and getting it passed around here. Though I know that that's probably old hat for Michael at least. But if anybody wanted...
Yeah, I'm going to pass this one to Margaret to kind of catch folks up to speed on maybe Uralta. That's probably something most people in this room's never heard of, so I'm going to pass it to Margaret.
Yeah, URALTA is an abbreviation for the Uniform Residential Landlord Tenant Act. It's a set of laws that is state law, but it only applies in cities and counties that have adopted it. And so Madison County, as well as Richmond and Berea, all do not have the Uniform Residential Landlord Tenant Act, which means there really aren't very many laws here about landlord and tenant relationships at all. There's kind of just a basic set of laws about how the eviction process works, and that's kind of it. And so all of the rules that you think of tenants having, like if my landlord doesn't fix anything, I can make a demand for them to fix it because I have a right to have a habitable home, and I can withhold my rent until they fix it. Tenants don't have that right in Madison County because we don't have these laws here. And so something that comes up in local advocacy is, should we work with our local government to try and get them to pass URALTA here? And so that's, yeah, he's saying yeah. I tend to agree. It's not something that we have decided to do as a group yet, but it's definitely something that we're thinking about.
Yeah, and just to kind of reiterate that, the thing that's most important when we're talking about these positive pieces of legislation, which we do work on all of those kind of things. I said we're trying to get legislation for funding for shelter services. But when it's a question of rights, from the tenant union perspective, a right is something that you have on a piece of paper. If you do not have power as a group to back that up, all you have is a piece of paper. We have very limited technical rights as renters and homeless people in Madison County, and they're being stripped away. even when we have certain rights, they are routinely, daily, and hourly being ignored without any consequences for doing so. So it's a question of, yes, we need to have these rights, and we need to have the power to back them up.
Thank you. Amen. Oh, is that, oh yeah, absolutely. And from Katie, we got.
I recently helped a friend of mine move. He's a single dad. He's home literally 12 to 36 hours a week. I was babysitting his kid one weekend. Trey on the bus comes to visit me. My friend got evicted because there was a homeless bus on the property on this apartment complex. So you're going to make my friend homeless because he's associated with someone on a bus who's homeless? I just thought that's just crazy. That just blows my mind.
Damn, thank you for sharing that. And that is ridiculous. And that should be. Is there anything to combat that? Laws against.
Yeah, the rights that you have are based on the power that you build in order to back them up. You don't even actually have to have a right to be able to win if you have power, right? You don't. Rights are powerful and important, but they're only one thing, right? That should have never happened. Nobody should be evicted because of the work that we're doing around homelessness or because we're in some kind of unpopular group. If you want that to stop, yes, let's fight for our rights. But if we had 1,000 people that were organized and capable of picketing together and saying, we do not want this eviction to happen, it doesn't matter if we have a right or not. That's powerful enough that it could probably be achieved.
Yes. I have a question for you, Trey, in regards to that and just the heart of it all. So when you organized this tent city and you had that community, what were some of the backlash that you got from that?
I mean, having the proper place to do it, we were basically on college property in the woods, trying to be out of sight, out of mind for the most part. But as with any place you go, people are going to notice different people going in and out of the woods and things like that. And you got other issues that are at hand. I mean, there's usage involved with different people or what have you. I mean, it got to a point people were finding their own ways and getting established and getting out of a tent and actually into a building of sort. But I was there to the end till the police kind of come in. They had a hard time finding me because I know how to ambush myself in real good. But it was helpful to other people that otherwise wouldn't have an idea of surviving otherwise. And this ain't over, y'all. There's going to be a lot of other people coming to the street before it's all done. When they do get there, they're not going to have the first idea of what to do. And they're going to lean to the people. I've been at this 9 years. I'm kind of seasoned to it. I mean, I'm well baked, so they're going to holler at me. You know what I'm saying? But that it's more to come, guarantee it.
Thank you, Trey. All right, do we have any more questions from the audience? Well, we got one back there, and then one. We'll take the online question real quick, and then hold that thought, please. Thank you. Could you read us the online question, please? Here, I could walk it over. I cannot.
Too many mics. Yeah, so we've got somebody asking online, what are ways that homeless people and renters are organizing for power to change laws and policies specifically?
Yeah, I can take that one. There is a very, very mighty growing movement across this country where communities, including here in the state of Kentucky, that are forming local tenant unions, right? Sometimes when you hear the word union, you might be thinking of a trade union. I know, or a labor union. Stephen and myself, we are both members of trade unions at our jobs, right? But a tenant union is a similar concept, but it's a different style of forming a union, and it's really about like, can you have collective power, right, to be an equal at the bargaining table, right? Can you have collective power to be an equal at the bargaining table? So we got a question earlier about, hey, I've got 3 units, right? Well, one way that you can approach that is, hey, you know what I'm going to do as the landowner? I'm going to sit down with my tenants, and together the tenants will come with what they would like to see in a lease. I, as a landlord, will come with what I would like to see in a lease, and we'll actually bargain it out, right? As equals, as co-equals. We can make the choice together of what do we want this lease contract to be. We can bargain about that, right? So that's a growing movement right here across the whole country, but even in Kentucky. So one of the biggest things that you can do is if you're listening out there and you're commenting from somewhere in Kentucky, is connect with the Madison County Tenants Union. And if your county does not already have a tenant union, we want to hear from you, and we want to share, how did we start one, right? Because we want there to be the Rockcastle County Tenants Union. We want there to be the Jackson County Tenants Union, the whatever. There are a growing number already right here in Kentucky. So there's in Ashland, Kentucky People's Union, in Lexington and Moorhead, Kentucky, there is chapters of Kentucky Tenants. There's Louisville Tenants Union in the city of Louisville. There's a growing network of those of us who are doing housing organizing that are working to found tenant unions. That's not unique to Kentucky. That's happening in every state in the country. There's a similar and wonderful and powerful thing that is happening with a growing number of homeless people's unions, right? So right now there are conversations happening among people without a place to stay indoors in Kentucky in the wake of this law that are talking about how do we get Homeless People's United off the ground. That has been a thing that has happened before in the history of this country, right? And is happening in other states, not just in Kentucky. And so I think that that's important to remember, that it's not just here in Kentucky, it's happening in every state. We saw a video about Joe Lonsdale and the law he passed in Kentucky. He's doing it now, today, happening currently again in Indiana. So these kind of unions are one way that you can do that, is found a local union alongside your neighbors. And if you want to learn how we did that here in Madison County, just reach out and connect to us.
Thank
Hi, my name's Barbie.
you. Could you speak up, please?
Sorry. Hi, my
Thank you.
name's Barbie. I just have a comment first. I just wanted to tell everyone here, thank you so very much for organizing this and bringing the community together. Hopefully we can make some positive changes. And then I have a question for you, Scott. I loved your film on the Dishonor. Can you go about making another one about the people at the top? In specifically Warren Buffett. There's a huge problem with the housing around here with Clayton Homes, Vanderbilt Mortgage. Anybody that knows about those knows how huge the problem is. My mom and I, we've been fighting to keep our land and our mobile home, which takes away all of our rights. There's no rights with manufactured. It's a repo, same as a car, and you have no eviction, nothing. We go to court again on Tuesday. We've been fighting this by ourselves for the past 9 years.
Stay tuned. Our next episode is about exactly that.
To contribute. if
Yeah,
you need
okay.
it.
Let's talk before we get out of here. We're going to be looking at a particularly special fucker at the top, Randall Smith. All right. Nobody seems to be able to find a picture of this dude. We did find one. Kind of try to drag him out into the open, talk a little bit about what he's doing, and it's exactly what you're talking about. Folks in mobile homes, mobile home parks, and the way that they're getting ripped off by private equity firms around the country, and it's a growing problem. So thank you. Yeah, let's chat before we go.
Yeah, that's literally episode 2 is on that topic. So if you would like to subscribe to the Dishonor Show, please do that as well. There'll be links online.
I also want to give a special shout out to the whole Punch Up crew here and everyone working behind the scenes to create the film, to do recording. Yep, so we have Spencer Mann, we have Neil Blakemore, and Quentin Leroux. So they are making it happen, connecting, and that's how we got people
Hang on,
watching.
hang on. These guys make us look good, right? We sit around and talk, and they do all this fancy shit, and it's awesome. So yeah, let's give them a thanks, huh?
And then one final thing on that, you actually don't actually have to have a lot of really fancy equipment in order to make movies. I mean, this one is very well done, but most of us have these phones, right? Quentin has actually trained up some of us on how do we effectively use these phones in order to make movies and tell our own stories in our own voices, in our own ways. So if that's something that you would like to learn how to do about like how to use your phone on telling your story about housing, we actually have the crew that will help train and support us as we do that. We already have some trainings pre-recorded where some of us, Quentin graciously through several weeks showed us like, how do you use your phone and how do you do this on the cheap with free software? So yes, we would want to invite you to get plugged in so that you can tell your story as well.
Thank you. We have another question over there, and then one in the back.
When we went into modular home, very well built, low cost home, yeah. And they tell you that your credit score just a little under what you can get, but conveniently they have someone that will finance you. Conveniently, it's Vanderbilt mortgage crooks that are all tied into Warren Buffett and his little, most people don't know that he owns Berkshire Hathaway and all that. And I hear him on NBC the other day. I'm finally going to retire as CEO and president of Berkshire Hathaway, and I'm going to pass on my philanthropy, whatever they call it, to my children so that they will continue. Well, I'm sorry, I don't call it philanthropy when they're stealing homes from 79-year-old women and putting them in the yard on property. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think we have a question in the back. Thank you for sharing that.
Hello. So there was a woman over here that asked a question that was enlightening people about how we use the prison system as slave labor now, and I was wondering, and also the construction of parking lots and things like that. How do we fight against things being built that are obstructing our ability to create new homes, as well as fight for homes for ourselves? So how do regular people find out about these things being built, and how do we go to these meetings to stop it?
Yeah, sure. So I think that the engagement and collective action to build people power is always like the driving thing that can stop any project, but in particular regards to things that are being built locally, that's something that we try and educate ourselves about, and our members is like participatory action research, we call it. And so we try and learn more about how we can learn what is the local government doing, what's going in front of the zoning board. And there's some other groups in town too, these kind of like NIMBY groups. What are they? The Save Madison County or
Yeah, so I think that there's many strategies, like, there's block and there's build, and we got to be able to have both. But we try and learn about this stuff together. Sometimes we're behind. Right? We learn about a development project too late in the process. I mean, we've been down swinging. Bo is sitting in the crowd. We have taken on some very wealthy developers in the state of Kentucky. Patrick Madden owns Hamburg in Lexington, not like a store in Hamburg, like owns that area of the city. Very wealthy, one of the wealthiest men in the state of Kentucky. And we tried to organize with our neighbors in Rowan County to stop a development project that was bulldozing a whole entire trailer park. I'm so honored and proud to have met and have been welcomed and invited to the North Fork Mobile Home Park community. And the honest answer is we did not stop that development project. That trailer park was bulldozed. We did not have enough power at that time to win that fight, but we were not going to go away quietly. So the honest answer to your question is sometimes you organize in fights that you do not win. That doesn't mean that you don't do it, but that's an honest answer. This work is hard. Organizing is never easy, and it's never any easier when the home that you want to sleep at night is on the line in those campaigns. So we want to learn from the campaigns that we win and the campaigns that we haven't won yet. So we got to learn more about, like, what are the development plans in our county, and is the development the kind of thing that would benefit the lives of everyday working people, or is it the kind of the development project that would make our lives harder and more miserable and bulldoze our homes, right? We've been behind on learning about what the government is doing, but the other thing is we're actually really smart enough to participatory action research is just some jargony way of saying a very common idea, and that is everyday working people are smart enough to figure out information about the place we call home. That's it. And people have always done that, so we can learn when developers try and hide behind a series of LLCs or corporate holdings or whatever. It's hard to figure out what they're up to sometimes because they hide under these shells and shells and shells. But we're smart, resilient, capable, and we've figured out a lot of those things. So I think some of it is like continuing on in that block work of preventing bad things, like preventing the bulldozer from coming or preventing the encampment sweep from happening before it does, but then also building an alternative of neighborhoods that are thriving, happy, and healthy. Because if any government official ever calls your neighborhood a blight, you should have an alarm bell going off in your head, right? And so the more we can show that our neighborhoods are powerful, united, and strong, the more people will know that's just a crock of shit when they call you a blight.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you. And to follow up with that, I just think people power, it does take people power. And that means people coming out to, the city council meetings, people really pushing on their legislators and representatives. And people power does work. And I know, like, in Cleveland, you mentioned something about, like, prison labor and things of that nature. In Cleveland, there still is an initiative going on for an alternative to incarceration, being that for people with, like, low-level felonies, first-time drug felonies, things of that nature, go through, like, a job training program with several, like, construction companies, right? So people are learning a new skill, a job, and helping build the community up. And then upon the completion of that, people don't go to prison. So I know that's happening in Cleveland. People are thinking about ways to build the community up and to stop a problem of mass incarceration or homelessness and all of these things. So, and that took a lot of like just people power, influence, a lot of people saying the same exact thing and keep on showing up to push this. And that took meeting with judges and meetings with the county executive and things of that nature. So you need all these players coming together. Whether that's the county executive who is prosecuting people who are sleeping in encampments, whether that's the other prosecutors, attorneys, everybody, all these players need to hear the same thing, and the people power will prevail. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interconnections there, and so there's a lot of interconnections that we can make too of groups that are working on these different issues working together. I saw one more question in the audience, gentleman in the hat. Yeah, let's get that question.
Not a question, but I just want to thank you all and thank you, Michael, and thank you, Margaret, because you all really do provide really great resources and advice for people. And I just want to tell you all that I'll be vague, but someone was able to get a couple more weeks because of the advice and the resources you gave them. And so I just wanted to thank you all for that. So please, if you are new to this, please go to them. It really does work. I want to thank you.
All right.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great to hear.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? If not, I know Trey and Katie would like to give a special shout out to someone. Maybe not Katie, but Trey.
All right, I want to thank all the organizations, first of all, that's been out here for us, UPS Initiative, Tenants Union, Ready for that matter, they've been there for us. But as an individual shout out, for Lillian Fraley, she's helped us out, sent pans of soup to the bus and people on it, let people take showers when needed, So Lillian Fraley, well, I want to say thank you especially for standalone efforts in your way.
The card. Yep, and this card. This Lillian Fraley. This is an honor. So this is a card that I made for you. And yeah. Do you have any words you'd like to share? Quickly? Hey, would you like to share several words real quickly? Okay. Oh.
76-year-old tattoo. Mother. And we just have a good time, and I love little children. I raised 5 myself, and I've got bukus of grandbabies and great-grandbabies. So yes, this program is wonderful. I've enjoyed, and I thank you all of you.
Thank you. And you're a beacon in the community, and that's recognized. Thank you. All right, thank you all to our panelists. Do you guys have any final words you'd like to depart with before?
Yes, just quick reminders. You'll notice on the door, there's a couple of things. We want you to take action. If you live in Madison County, step 1, join the tenant union. Step 2, sign the petition and join the campaign to get money from our county for emergency shelter. Yes. You live in Kentucky, but you don't live in Madison County? We got actions for you too. Trey says we're coming, and that's true. On a big blue and white whale, we're coming. Step one, what we want you to do is sign the petition to support expunging our records from evictions.
Yes.
Right? If you have an eviction on your record, even if you win in court, that stays on your record, and it is often used to deny us housing. So there's a statewide coalition to end that. Sign that petition. And two, very, very important to me, do you live in a county and you want to start a tenant union in your area that your county doesn't have one already? Please scan the QR code and let us know. I'm ready to organize my neighbors, and we will have organizers that will reach out to you to talk about what does it take to start a tenant union in your county. So if you live in Madison County, please join us. If you don't live in Madison County, we got stuff for you to do too.
Let's give it up for Katie again, and Stephen and Trey.
Just remember, one voice is kind of silent, but 1,000's pretty loud.
If anybody's interested in donating or, money, time, want to volunteer, do any kind of work out it up, you can reach out to MK, Shelby, myself, visit our Facebook. We'd love to have you. And we love for everyone coming out, and thank you.
Just keep on going. Awesome. Thank you, guys. And before we close it out, too, we got some final music. It wouldn't be right to not close out without some good tunes. So we're going to invite Punch Up's very own Kevin Epler back up here to play some tunes. And the band.
And the band. Where's Tyler and Taylor? Thank you. Can you guys give it up for Tyler and Taylor? Thank you. Thanks for, as we're clearing off the stage, getting things set up. Give me a second as I move some contraptions around here. You need this one, though. You grab that mic stand. Thank you. All right, we're just gonna have to do without it. All right, this is a sing-along. If you're here, need you singing this one. This is an organizer song, and it's really near and dear to the hearts of us in Punch Up. So you can get yourself stomping and clapping. So if you're sitting down, it'd be great if you guys could stand on up. It's in the 3/4. This one's called The Rich Man's House. So if you know it, sing along. There's some parts you can echo back and learn it quickly. It's a call and response song, and it's got some really known parts. Down to the rich man's house and took back what he stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. When I went down to the rich man's house, I took back what he stole from under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let that rich man walk all over me. All right, we're gonna do one with Joe Lonsdale. We're gonna sing, I went down to Joe Lonsdale's house, right? Went to Joe Lonsdale's house, yeah, to take back what he stole from me. Take back my dignity, take back my humanity. Well, I went down to Joe Lonsdale's house and I took back what he stole from me. Took back my dignity, took back my humanity. Now he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let Joe Lonsdale walk all over me. All right, last verse we'll do is one really close to us, right? That's the fuckers at the top, right? We went to the fuckers at the top to take back what they stole from me. Well, I went to the fuckers at the top and I took back what they stole from me. Took back my dignity, I took back my humanity. And I went to the fuckers at the top and I took back what they stole from me. Took back my dignity, I took back my humanity. And now they're under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let those fuckers walk all over me. All right, rich man's house, one more time. Well, I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. Took it back, took back my dignity, I took back my humanity. Well, I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. Took back my dignity, I took back my humanity. And now they're under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Let the rich man walk all over me. Well, thank y'all. Thanks for coming out.
All right, thank you to everyone who came out. First of all, we want to thank the community of Berea. That's all of you, so big hand for all of you. And we want to thank Madison County Tenants Union. Okay. Got some exciting results. Thank you to everyone who gave to the UP initiative. All right. And we're gonna go one by one. We had in the donation jar, $402.44 cash money. People who responded to texts, $230. And in the Give Butter, that's like a GoFundMe, if you donated online, $650. Okay, total is $1,329.44. All right, thank you again for attending the premiere of Dishonor. And thank you to everybody at Madison County Tenants Union and Punch Up for making it possible. Have a good night.